So, my colleague Arjun, brilliant guy, IIT grad, works at a top MNC in Bangalore. He just bought a nearly 2 lakh rupees iPhone, the Pro Max obviously. He posted it on Instagram, 128 likes in 2 hours. And 2 days later, he's in my DMs asking me how to build an emergency fund. And here's the thing, Arjun is not the exception. Arjun is basically every third person I know between 25 and 35. And maybe that's you. You're earning decent money, you're not struggling, but somehow at the end of every single month, there's nothing left, and you can't quite figure out where it all went. But then there's someone like Meera. Meera dresses simply, takes the metro, packs her lunch. Her colleagues think she's a bit boring, honestly. She doesn't talk about money, she doesn't flex. You'd never guess she's sitting on a 1.2 crore rupees portfolio at 32 years old. She's not lucky, she's not exceptionally talented, she just understands something that most people will never figure out. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is. My name is Rohan, and I spend way too much time thinking about the psychology of money, specifically why we're all so terrible at building wealth even when we're earning enough to do it. If you're someone who feels like their income and their net worth are in two completely different universes, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Alright, let's get into it. Here's a question I want you to actually sit with for a second. Why is it that some of the wealthiest people you'll ever meet look completely normal? Drives a regular car, wears nothing flashy, you'd never know. And yet some of the most financially broke people you know are the ones with the most visible signs of success. The premium apartment in Bandra, the luxury watch, the business class posts on LinkedIn. This is not a coincidence, this is a system, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth is invisible. Spending is visible, and we've been socially programmed to chase the visible version, which is the exact reason most people will never build real wealth. Let me give you a number that completely changed how I think about money. As of January 2026, India's mutual fund industry has crossed 81 lakh crore rupees in assets under management. That's 81 lakh crore rupees. And yet, and this is the part that should shock you, household savings in equity and mutual funds as a share of total financial savings was just about 2% in FY 2012. It's now grown to around 15.2% in FY 2025. Now, 15% sounds like progress, but flip that around. It means 85% of household financial savings is still sitting in low-return instruments, fixed deposits, physical gold, real estate, instruments that after inflation barely keep up or sometimes don't. So we live in a country with one of the highest savings rates in the world, 30.7%, significantly higher than the global average of around 25 to 28%, and yet most people's savings are not working hard enough. We save, we just don't invest properly. Why? Because we are busy spending our visible money on visible things. Now, you might be thinking, Rohan, acting broke sounds miserable. I work hard, I deserve to enjoy my money. And look, I completely agree. This video is not about giving up tea lattes or cancelling your Netflix subscription. Please, I'm not a monster. Acting broke is not about deprivation, it's about deliberate invisibility with your money. Let me explain this with a concept I call the status trap. Humans, all of us, me included, have a deeply wired instinct to signal status to our tribe. It's evolutionary, it's normal. The problem is that in 2026, our status signals have become insanely expensive, and the financial industry, the luxury goods market, and frankly, social media, they all profit from keeping you stuck in that loop. Think about it. Your EMI on a car that depreciates 20% the moment it drives off the lot. Your apartment rent in an address neighborhood that takes 50% of your salary. Your weekend brunches at 3,000 rupees a head, which by the way are entirely designed to be photographed, not enjoyed. Seriously, when did we start eating for the grid and not for the stomach? Here's the brutal math, and I want you to pay attention to this. Say you earn a lakh 20,000 rupees per month. That's a solid income. You're doing well. Now let's say the status trap eats up 90,000 rupees of that. Rent, car EMI, lifestyle, going out, you're left with 30,000 rupees. Most people save maybe 5,000 to 10,000 rupees of that. The rest, it vanishes. But Meera, remember Meera? She earns 90,000 rupees month less than you. She lives in a simpler flat, no car EMI. She's aggressively investing 25,000 rupees every month via SIP. at a realistic 12% annualized return, which good equity mutual funds in India have historically delivered over long horizons, though past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Here's what happens over 15 years. Your 7,500 rupees average monthly SIP over 15 years, approximately 38 lakh rupees. Not bad. Mira's 25,000 rupees monthly SIP over 15 years, approximately 1.25 crore rupees. Same country, same stock market, completely different lives at 45. This is not a trick, this is just math. And Mira gets this, which is why she doesn't care that you think her phone is outdated. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. And this is the part most financial content completely ignores. The problem isn't information. You know SIPs are good. You know you should invest early. You've heard it 1,000 times, but you're still not doing it consistently. Why? Because our relationship with money is 80% emotional and 20% rational. And we keep trying to fix an emotional problem with rational solutions. Here's what I mean. When you buy that nearly 2 lakh rupee phone, it's not really about the phone. It's about the story the phone tells the world, and more importantly, the story it tells you about yourself. I've made it. I deserve this. I am successful. That emotional hit is real and it's powerful. And financial education that just says don't spend money is completely ignoring that reality. So, what do wealthy people do differently? They find their identity validation from something that doesn't cost them their future. This is the core of stealth wealth. It's not just frugality, it's a complete reframe of what signals status to you internally. The guy who's cracked stealth wealth doesn't feel the itch to upgrade his phone every year, not because he suppresses the desire, but because his self-worth is no longer tied to what other people can see. His status symbol is his portfolio, his brokerage account, his net worth growing silently every month. And here's the ironic part. The bigger his portfolio gets, the less he needs to show anything to anyone. Compare that to the guy drowning in EMIs, desperately refreshing Instagram to see how many likes his new car got. Which one actually feels rich? Let me give you the context of what's happening in India right now, because it's genuinely exciting. The unique SIP investor base in India has grown from just 3.1 crore in FY 2020 to over 9.9 crore active contributing investors by early 2026. That's nearly a 3.5 times jump in 5 years. And in FY 2026, 2.35 crore new demat accounts were opened in just 9 months, taking the total past 21.6 crore accounts. India crossed 12 crore unique stock market investors in September 2025. And roughly a quarter of that base is now women, which, by the way, research consistently shows women are actually better long-term investors than men. Lower transaction frequency, less ego-driven trading. Just saying. Now, here's the question. Are you in these numbers, or are you watching this wave from the shore? Because here's what the data also shows. While nearly 10 crore people are actively doing SIPs, the average SIP amount remains small. Most people are starting, which is great, but they're not scaling. And scaling is where the real magic happens. This is where step-up SIPs come in. The concept is simple. Every year, as your income goes up, and it will go up, you increase your SIP amount by just 10%. That's it. Let me show you the difference this makes. 10,000 rupees per month SIP for 20 years at 12%, 99 lakh rupees, basically 1 crore rupees. 10,000 rupees per month SIP with 10% annual step up for 20 years at 12%, approximately 2 crore rupees. Double, just by adding 1,000 rupees extra every year at the start. The compounding on compounding effect is genuinely absurd when you see it play out. And look, one important caveat before we move on, when you eventually withdraw these gains, you will owe 12.5% long-term capital gains tax on the profits. I'm not going to do the net of tax math on screen because it depends on your withdrawal strategy, but even after taxes, this is life-altering wealth. Don't let the taxman be your excuse not to start. India is set up beautifully for long-term investors right now. The argument for staying in fixed deposits is weaker than ever. Equity markets, for disciplined long-term investors, remain the single most powerful wealth creation tool available to the ordinary Indian salaried person. But none of that matters if you spend every rupee of your income before the markets can work for you. Okay, so let me make this really practical. Because I know some of you are thinking, Rohan, I hear you, but I live in Mumbai. Rent is insane, my parents have expenses. I can't just. I hear you. I genuinely do. I grew up in a middle class household. I know what real financial pressure looks like. So let me give you 5 principles that actually work in the Indian context. Principle 1: pay yourself first, non negotiably. The moment your salary hits your account, before you pay rent, before you pay for groceries, before you check Swiggy, your SIP amount moves. Automate it. Treat it like a tax you pay to your future self. If you wait to see what's left over to invest, the answer will always be zero. Always. Principle 2: upgrade your identity before you upgrade your lifestyle. I know it sounds fluffy, but hear me out. When you get a salary hike, your first instinct is to upgrade something: new phone, better apartment, eating out more. Instead, the first upgrade should be your SIP amount. Get to a point where your identity is I am someone who invests aggressively before it's I am someone who lives in a premium flat. Principle 3: stop renting status symbols. Your car is not an asset. In India, a 12 lakh rupees car loses about 2 to 3 lakh rupees in value in the first year alone. At typical 2026 car loan rates of around 9.5%, your EMI on a 12 lakh rupees loan over 5 years is roughly 25,200 rupees per month. You'll pay over 3 lakh 10,000 rupees in pure interest over that period. Money gone, zero asset value. And the car itself, worth maybe 5 lakh rupees by then. Put that same 25,000 into an SIP for 5 years at 12% returns, you'd have around 20 lakh 50,000 rupees and a clean balance sheet. Principle 4: make a wealth number, not a salary number. Most people know exactly what they earn per month. Very few people know their net worth. Start tracking your net worth every month, even if it's just a simple spreadsheet. When your identity shifts from I earn 1,50,000 rupees per month to my net worth just crossed 50 lakh rupees, the game changes completely. You stop caring about looking wealthy and start caring about being wealthy. Principle 5: make spending on experiences, not appearances. Now, and I want to be clear here, I'm not telling you to live like a monk. Spend on things that actually enrich your life: travel, experiences, learning, food you genuinely love. These things actually make you happier. The research on this is unambiguous. But the 45,000 rupees watch that you wear to the office to impress people who are too busy worrying about their own finances to notice yours, that's not an experience, that's a prop in a play that no one else is watching. Here's the thing about stealth wealth. It's not glamorous. It's not going to make for a great Instagram caption. But let me paint you a picture of what it actually looks like at the end. Rahul and Vikram, same age, same college, same starting salary of 60,000 rupees per month at 24. Rahul lives large, upgrades every year, invests what's left, which is almost nothing. At 45, he earns 2,50,000 rupees a month and spends 2,40,000 rupees of it. He looks very successful. His net worth is 35 lakh rupees, mostly tied up in a flat he bought on a big home loan. Vikram lives simply, invests 20,000 rupees every month from day one and doesn't touch it. At 45, he earns 2 lakh rupees a month, slightly less than Rahul, but his net worth, 2.27 crore rupees, liquid, in equity, generating passive income. He could stop working tomorrow if he wanted to. Who's actually rich here? Now you might be thinking, Rohan, that's all very nice, but 20 years is a long time. I want to enjoy life now. And that is absolutely the right instinct. Here's the reframe though. The goal of stealth wealth isn't to suffer today so you can enjoy your retirement in a chair at 65. The goal is to build enough passive wealth that by the time you're 40 or 45, work becomes optional. You don't have to stay in a job you hate. You don't have to accept a toxic boss because you need the next salary credit. You have options. That freedom, genuine financial freedom, that is what Vikram is buying every month with his SIP. And that is worth far more than any status symbol. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. This stuff isn't complicated. You don't need an MBA. You don't need a fancy financial advisor. You need to make one decision. The decision to stop optimizing for how rich you look and start optimizing for how rich you actually are. India is in an incredible moment right now. The economy is growing. The markets are maturing. We have tools available to us: SIPs, demat accounts, index funds that previous generations literally did not have access to. Nearly 10 crore Indians are already using them. The question is whether you're going to be part of that number or whether you're going to be the person who explains to their 45-year-old self why they needed that nearly 2 lakh rupees phone. Meera doesn't have 128 likes on Instagram. She has 1.2 crore rupees in her portfolio. I think she'll be okay. Start your SIP today, even if it's 1000 rupees, even if it's 500 rupees. Just start. Automate it, increase it every year. And then, this is the most important part. Stop telling people about it. That's the whole secret. If this video added value to your life, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And share it with one person you know who needs to hear this. I'll see you in the next one.